What's going on? Welcome to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This video is going to be about the games coming to retail the week of September 17th. We have a great lineup of games. Some of these games actually are ones that I've talked about in the past, and now they're coming to retail. And some of these made my list of anticipated games this year, anticipated games coming to retail this year, which is a top 10 list I did of just games that I'm really excited to come to retail. I'm pumped to talk about them, so let's get this video going. Keep in mind, covering the games coming to retail in the US. Also keep in mind, if one of these games release date changes, I'll make sure to update you about that new change in its new respective video. Let's get these games shown. First game is going to be coming out September 20th by Borderlands Games, Overboss Duel. Overboss Duel. Interesting stuff because Overboss was a tile placement game that came out a couple years ago. I think it was around 2021, 2020ish. I want to say I think it was 2020 when it came out, and it's a tile placement game. And one thing I really do love about the Overboss game was the art. If you look, there's like a little 16-bit art kind of thing going on. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. And you can kind of see that there, like right here in these tokens and such, there's 16-bit art, and you're basically playing as you're trying to be the overlord of the overworld basically. And in Overboss, what was interesting is that you each had your own your own little section or tableau to build, not tableau, wrong word, your own player board to build your map and try to draft from the market. However, in this one, you're sharing a board, and you're going to be trying to kind of mess with their patterns and vice versa. They're going to mess with your patterns. It's kind of going to head now. In the other game, you had like your own little board. It was I think you played up to 5 players. I may be wrong about that, maybe 4 or 5. And you kind of have no one to really mess with you. There's no player interaction really. You just draft the tiles, put them on your board, build some stuff out. In this one, it's going to be a lot of player interaction, a lot of messing around, or a lot of I think I want to say a little bit of take that. It's going to be kind of annoying. Basically, you're going to have like a really nice pattern going on, and then boom, they mess it up. In this one's a head-to-head dueling game. You're going to have little tokens to change it up, which is going to be these heroes that are going to be the tokens, as well as different bosses that make it a little asymmetrical when you're playing the game. I love the art in these games. It is super neat. I love 16-bit art. That's kind of one of like my weaknesses like that, I think, when it comes to like games that have that art. However, I will say that the gameplay itself is it's really straightforward. I mean, you get a tile, you place it. When you place it, you're going to try to create your patterns. You can also mess up the enemy's patterns by drafting a tile and put it in their section. It's really straightforward. It's a dueling game. Check it out if you like 2-player style games, or if you have 2 players only at your house, or usually 2 players are kind of the specialty you play at your home because there's only 2 of you. Overboss Duel. Check it out. Coming out September 20th by Borderlands Games. Coming up next, we have Nautilus Island by Hachette Board Games in collaboration with Funny Fox, coming out on September 20th as well. This game is pretty straightforward. It's a card style game with a little board. Your whole goal, you are shipwrecked and you're trying to escape. You want to be the first castaway to escape. During your turn, you move your castaway marker, which is going to be on these board here. There you go. You're going to move your castaway marker, and I'm going to show you a little more pictures here, and we're going to go back to the main. And you're going to choose between collecting object cards from the column or space, place down cards from their hard hand to start a collection, and you're storing objects allowing players to claim bonuses and or porthole tokens from their opponent and get victory points. When a column's empty, the game's over. I love the art in this game. I really love how this looks. It just looks very vibrant. I just keeps my eyes on it and just observing it more and more. So you can see the table presence. It's probably really high with this game. And like I said, it's just the color palette they chose. I don't know what it is that I am just so intrigued by the board. Very straightforward game. You're trying to collect your material you need to escape. That's pretty much what it is. I do like the fact that it has a board on it. It's not just like a card game. Sometimes I think games lately have been just being... I don't mind this at all. I actually really do enjoy this. When there's actually like just a simple card game with like just a deck of cards. But it just seems like adding this element of a board kind of just adds that feeling more of exploring an island or exploring, which is pretty neat. I like it. Nautilus, this is coming out September 20th by Funny Fox and Hachette. I'm going to be moving on here to Pyslocke Marvel Champions, coming out by Fantasy Flight Games on September 22nd. I talk about Marvel Champions a lot. I love the game, of course. I love the gameplay. But this is just going to be an expansion, adds a new character, hero pack to it. I'm not going to go too deep into gameplay. It is a legacy style, not legacy. It is a living card game. And you're going to be... this is just going to add another hero pack to it. This is kind of investing kind of into like the new category of like mutants that that happens in Marvel, and you're kind of diving into more like there's different heroes in that realm of the comics. This is going to be Psylocke. This is going to be Angel, who is now going to be a playable character as well. This is the hero pack for him. And that is kind of really it with that. Like I said, I'm not going to go into gameplay too much. Look at like every other video where I talk about it. I love the game. This is just kind of expansion for the game. Coming out September 20th, but Fantasy Flight, Psylocke, and Angel are now playable in Marvel Champions. Coming up next, we have by Monster Fight Club, coming out September 22nd, is going to be Borderlands Mr. Torgues Arena of Badassery. So, Borderlands, it was a video game originally, right? I think originally it was a video game, then it's like starting to be adapted to tabletop and such. Borderlands is an awesome cooperative video game. I really do enjoy playing it. I love playing it with friends, of course, and it's basically a cooperative game, especially a cooperative game with a lot of loot. I think they did a really good job of capturing that in this game. This game was originally on Kickstarter, and now it's coming to retail. Monster Fight Club did an awesome... I think they did a great job with this, the way I'm looking at it, and the way reading the rulebook and such, only because they're definitely capturing the whole essence of, like, Borderlands. In Borderlands, what the really cool thing about it was, like, on the video game, is, like, you had so much loot. Like, there's different styles of guns, different styles, like, different ways they shot, the recoil, very cool and creative ways of, like, making those weapons and such. And that's the essence of Borderlands. That was the biggest thing. You, like, would explore different weapons as you played the game, and the weapons are, like, they evolved into, like, freeze rays and such, and some shot fireworks. It was crazy, and it was super fun and awesome. I think they did that here with adding so much cool weapons and loot that I'll feel a little bit different. And in this game, you're playing cooperatively, and essentially Mr. Torgue has you in an arena, and you have to survive waves, and there's different scenarios and such as you play through. I think it's really interesting. Also, they use Monster Fight Club has its like innovative reaction system they use. So you're using like a red D6, a yellow D8, and a green D12 and a black D10, which they all represent a different style of, like, for example, like one of them is a fighting dice, one of them is an obstacle dice, and you roll them specifically for different things. And then also a purple D4 is used as like a randomizer for like special rules in the game. They kind of innovated their own system into this gameplay, so this is kind of like fresh and not like probably not as close as to any other type of gameplay system you played before. Interesting stuff. I think they did a good job. It's a cooperative game, which I do like. I think Borderlands is a cooperative game. If they would have made it competitive, I would have been a little like iffy about that, just because like I don't think that game ever really did that. But a cool thing too is like they have so many cool miniatures in this game, and if you're a fan of the Borderlands like games and you love miniatures as much as I do and love like having that plastic on the table when you're playing on cardboard, they have so many cool miniatures. The miniatures themselves are all representative of different enemies from the video game itself. So if you're a fan of the game, you're going to have some really cool miniatures in the game. Super awesome stuff. This is going to be Borderlands Mr. Torgues Arena of Badassery by Monster Fight Club, coming out on September 22nd. Coming up next, coming out on September 22nd, is going to be Sea Salt and Paper by Badassery Games. This specific game is a card game, and it's I love one of the biggest things that stuck out to me. This game actually was mentioned in my top 10 games coming to retail video that was posted earlier this year, and the art was like a really cool thing. I love the origami art. As a kid, I would always build like origami in class. Like I loved origami books. I think like even like in book fairs, I would go for like the origami book, and I thought it was super neat. And they did such a great job with that here in this game. It's all origami art that's used in the cards. Like they took pictures of this origami. Super cool. I love that. So in this game, your whole goal is to basically reach 7 points, and you play in rounds. There's a specific number of points you have to reach to win the game, and what ends the game, it depends on the amount of players, right? So there's a set amount of points you have to reach depending on the amount of players playing. When you're playing, different cards are worth different things. Like for example, some cards you have to kind of match them with other cards to get a specific amount of points. Once you reach 7 and you think you're going to win with the most amount of points, you can bet on that to get you some more bonus points. Depending on how many players, you have to reach that amount of points, and you play over rounds. First person to reach that amount of points wins the game. Very straightforward. This game is like sold out, and even like at Gen Con when it was when it was there being sold, the game was hot. Like everyone was buying the game. I think they even sold out of copies, as well as on their website. They're out of stock. You have to wait till it comes to retail, which is what I'm reminding you of now. So Sea Salt and Paper is also on Board Game Arena. So if you want to try the game out first and then have it in your pocket, I think the you can definitely try it on Board Game Arena, but the cool thing about these games, specifically these card games, is that they fit in your purse or your wallet, not a wallet, your purse or your pocket, or maybe in a backpack, right? Like you can carry it around to play when you're just kind of sitting there with friends waiting for something, either have it be at a restaurant, bar, have it be like waiting for a train or waiting for your flight. You have little games to just kind of bust out and play. So try it on Board Game Arena, see if you like it. I think it's interesting, and also consider buying it because, like I said, it's literally just, you can take the box, take the cards, keep the rule book with you, and you can just take it around everywhere. That's the cool thing about these games. This is Sea Salt and Paper by Badassery Games, coming out September 22nd. Coming up next, we have by Stonemaier Games, Expeditions, coming out on September 22nd. This game's already out on the Stonemaier website. Keep that in mind, but now it's coming to your retail stores. So I may have already talked about this game in the past, I did games come to retail, of course. I talked about it then, but now it's coming out to you in retail stores. I'm going to do a small overview because I know I mentioned this game in a previous video when it came out on their website. So I'm just going to do a little quick overview of the game now. Basically, this game is kind of branching off into the world of Scythe. If you've played Scythe before, it's like the area control style game, and with different types of wind conditions. It's an engine builder as well. In this game, it's a little different. It has an engine, but the engine's the way it works is a little different than in Scythe. You kind of have your player board, and you build out cards by either accomplishing different objectives, and you line up your board with these cards in different areas. And when you line them up, you actually end up active. You put it in and you activate, and everything around your board can potentially activate as well, giving you an X amount of points. There is some really, and here actually is some copies of the cards I want to show you. Actually, first things first, the miniatures. There's the metal miniatures, there's plastic miniatures. That's super awesome. I love the metal miniatures. They're super cool. Coming down here, it's the cards, right? So on the top left, it gives you a resource of some type that it gives you, and at the bottom, it tells you the effect. And these all go in different parts. Like these, for example, are item cards that can be crafted essentially, and they go on the right side of your board. When they get put in, you have this effect that activates, and when the effect activates, you can rescue a yellow worker, gain a yellow worker, or remove a green worker, vanquish the red worker, right? Whenever you vanquish, first gain the core values of all adjacent face-up cards. That is usually an effect that you can use to be played as well. So it has a lot of variability. It's an interesting game. I haven't really developed a really good opinion about it since I played it because I need to play it a couple more times. I think it does what it does. It does it very well. It's definitely nothing, I don't think it's anything like too crazy big. And I'm not supposed to be giving a review, I'm supposed to give an overview of the game. So let's actually continue on here. Basically, yeah, the game's pretty neat. Pick it up if you think it's worth it. $75 is kind of what it is on the website. I'm not sure what it's going to be in retail stores. Every retail store has like a different price because there's discount retailers. There's also people who sell MSRP. So it's all going to vary. And it's going to, like I said, Stonemaier has a reputation of making some great games. I'm not going to shame them on that in any way, shape, or form. They have some awesome games. They do a great job with them. They have a lot of great lineup. Try this one out. Check it out. And come back to the video and let me know what you think. I would love to hear it. This Expeditions come out September 22nd by Stonemaier Games. We are at the end of the video. Thank you for making this far. That is awesome. Thank you for watching the video. That is super cool. And if you did watch the whole video, let me know what you think of Expeditions. If you think you're going to pick it up, if you haven't picked it up, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it and love to know. And also, that comments will let me know that people are actually finishing and watching the video. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. Have a good one.